Liftoff.
Did you find you've deployed in two different types of wars, right? Desert Storm and then Afghanistan.
Right.
How is it different in a more traditional conflict like Desert Storm versus Afghanistan? I mean, is it change your mindset, or is it still you're helping the dudes on the ground no matter what?
Well, you're helping the dudes on the ground no matter what, but the level of risk in Desert Storm was exponential more than Afghanistan. I mean, in Afghanistan, there was essentially no risk. I mean, a guy could hit you with a golden BB, but, I mean, Desert Storm, there were days I remember flying around and I go, wow, it looks just like the old World War II movies where there's flat, little flat clouds bursting. Yeah, I mean, it looked just like the World War II movies. And then, we were having missiles shot at us on a regular basis. And, I mean, they were shooting down guys. I mean, we were losing guys in the A-10. And so that level of risk was much higher than it was in Afghanistan. So in Afghanistan, you could pretty much just rain hate with impunity. But Desert Storm, when you were doing that, you were putting your pink butt on the line.
Now, but in Afghanistan, it was more high threat for the guys on the ground, right? You could hear shots in the background and know those dudes were in trouble a few times, right?
Yes, you could, but I had the same thing in Desert Storm. One time, I've had the same situation there also.
How do you deal as a pilot, to calm yourself down, not trying to rush and make mistakes? How do you deal with that sense of urgency when stuff's, it's bad and you got to save some lives?
Well, that's where, honestly, that's where the training kicks in. That's where the muscle memory and the procedure and everything else that you train, that's when that comes into effect. You just go in, I don't want to say automatic mode, but you go into, you're focused into that mission and taking it all in and figuring out where to put the bullets. I mean, I had one in Afghanistan where we got scrambled, and these guys are screaming, guns going off on the radio. They've already got 3 KIA by the time we get there, and they were facking us in or directing us in on these hilltops, and we basically flew. As soon as we got there, the first thing we did was when we checked in was strafe a hilltop. Wow. I mean, we just went right into the hilltop, and to try to get them to quit shooting at the friendlies.
I mean, have you ever had to calm them down? Where you're there. I mean, always professional, always. I mean, you've never. Basically, both sides are just having their training kick in, right?
Yes, I have never had a scared JTAC on the ground. They were always professional, always calm, sometimes out of breath and running, but always professional. And the only thing I ever had one time that when I was saying we ran the CSAR in Afghanistan, the downed helicopter, we got there were 28 guys on it, and we got 27 of them out, and they left the JTAC with the helicopter.
Oh man.
And he was on the ground by himself for a while, and we're flying around, and every now and then he'd just call up. I don't remember what our call sign was, but he would call us up and say, "Hey, just want to check, make sure you guys are still there."
Do you have NVGs in Desert Storm? Do you fly night?
We flew nights, but we did not have NVGs, and it was amazing the techniques that we developed to employ at night with no NVGs and no targeting pods.
Oh, how low does the A-10 go? Like what's
100 feet.
Jesus Christ! Wow, that's awesome.
I mean, that's the training. We train down to 100 feet. The reality is, if you were in a high-threat environment, you would just go as low as you could to, try to confuse the radars.
Wow.
And sneak in.
Excuse me. Oh, no. Oh! Meant a lot of that. Usually fine with the doors off. All Fox speed. Don't be a douche. That's rule number 1. Make them tell you no.